right, Brian from Multiversity here with the Hivemind crew, Hunter Gorinson, Dinesh Shamdasani. You guys have been doing Hivemind for, is it 3 years now? 2 years? Was it?
Time flies.
About a year and a half.
Okay. And this has been a big summer for Hivemind stuff. Give our readers and watchers, viewers, what do you call people watching video? Viewers. Give our viewers a little bit of a sense of what you guys have been doing this summer.
Well, let's see. Stuff that came out or is currently on the air. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah.
Like, technically, Hivemind's first feature film came out this summer.
Yeah, CBS Films.
Yep. Like, co-produced, co-written by Guillermo del Toro, which is a total dream come true. It was the highest-grossing horror film of the summer.
Yep.
And then The Expanse officially moved over to Amazon and got picked up for Season 4, which will be debuting later this year. They're going to show the premiere here on Saturday.
And Season 5 was approved, so Season 5 is happening as well.
And then The Witcher, starring Henry Cavill, is going to be rolling out.
No,
Yep.
can't do it. Can't say anything about The Witcher.
In the near future. And
Netflix spies everywhere.
Yeah, they started promoting that very, very aggressively. And then we announced
the team was much larger. We talked about Witcher too much.
Yeah, and they willed it down. Now it's just us two.
Just
and
us.
we're just super paranoid
We're the
about
last
it.
two. It's like Final Destination.
But we announced a bunch of cool stuff too. We announced Gideon Falls.
Yeah.
Today we announced that James Wan has come on board to co-produce with us, which is super, super, super exciting. I know you guys are big fans of Gideon Falls over at Multiversity.
Yeah, one of my favorite comics last year, for sure.
Best new series of the Eisners. Now the director of The Conjuring coming on board. And that's not all. We can't say what the next piece is, but that's not all.
When will folks hear the next piece?
Probably the next couple months. We like to... Look, there's a lot of, hey, we're a film and TV company, we optioned something, and speculation. We like to keep things close to the vest until we've built a lot of pieces, and then know we're going to put something out with the next piece already in our back pocket, which is where we are at Gideon Falls. We have more there than we've talked about, so we're feeling good.
And then we announced a partnership with the EC Comics, not a state technically, but the family that manages the legacy of EC, which is a huge honor. It's William Gaines's daughter and grandson, and together we're doing a weird fantasy television show. Yeah. We've been cooking on that behind the scenes.
Have we talked about who's involved with us on that?
We're not allowed to.
Sorry.
No exclusives over here?
No, Hunter shut that down.
Damn it, Hunter.
Former PR guy, man. I can't help it.
He's like the Netflix of Hivemind.
But I'm a huge fan of EC Comics. I think that obviously we in comics know how influential they are.
Not a huge fan of your show, though. Otherwise, there would have been an exclusive. Just want to underline that. Make sure that was clear.
I'm aware.
So hugely honored to be even involved in adapting some of that stuff for the first time. And then similar title, very different concept. We also announced Final Fantasy, that we're going to be doing the first ever live action adaptation of a Final Fantasy, I think right before San Diego back in June, which is another huge, huge honor. Property that obviously has a worldwide fan base of very, very dedicated fans. So we're cooking on that too and have some pretty exciting stuff coming.
Deep in the middle of a global Chocobo casting call. We need to find just the right Chocobos. It's hard work. Someone's got to do it. We're up to the challenge.
So you both have a background in comics, and so when you're looking for things to license, to adapt, what is it about a comic that makes it such an ideal thing to bring to other media?
I mean, I think we can... For me, I would just tell you, it's just... The only thing you can go by is your taste. And if your taste is taste that other people like, great. Otherwise, you're kind of out of a job. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. I mean, Dinesh is very right about that. And also, we're kind of in a magical time in entertainment right now. When I was a kid, I would have probably broken someone's neck to get my hands on a Captain America action figure, let alone three $300 million movies featuring the character. You know, it's been said to death, but the geeks have won. And we're at a time in popular culture when people have finally realized the actual, value of the work that's been going on in comics for many years, and there's just such a wealth of untapped ideas that have been put forth in comics for decades now that some folks with a little bit of knowledge of it, there's a lot of just exciting things to be uncovered there. I think EC is a great example of that.
EC is a great example. I mean, we can talk about weird fantasy, for instance, why we gravitated towards that. This is a series of stories that are seminal, hugely inspirational, hugely influential. They are told at a very high level in terms of their narrative, the structure of the narrative, the characterization is very strong. They all also have a very strong thematic, strong metaphor, a social undercurrent, which is very resonant today. Hasn't been resonant in a long time because the world was in a different place. Now is back to the same kind of fears that populated the 50s when these comics were coming out.
To give you a taste, like a lot of those EC sci-fi stories, especially from like, we're talking like 1952, 1953, have themes of racial equality, kind of a proto-feminism, ecological, environmental protection, denuclearization, anti-war, like things that are very much in the zeitgeist now. And this was happening at a time in like the middle of Eisenhower's America, what we don't think of as a very progressive time in terms of values, and that stuff is literally appearing for some of the first time in pop culture in those comics.
It's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive stuff. You're also working on the Bloodshot movie, and you guys have a little history with Valiant, I know. And so, what was it about the Bloodshot film that you guys felt you had to get right? Because to me, there are a couple of things about the character that are just iconic, and if you didn't get it just right, folks like me who've been reading Bloodshot comics since the 90s might be a little bit, pissed off. So what were the things that you guys felt like, this is what we really have to bring to a Bloodshot film?
2 words, Brian. Cargo pants. Wall-to-wall cargo pants.
A lot of cargo pants. We're no cargo pants. Hair.
Cargo shorts or pants?
Pants, man. Come on. We're serious people. Cargo pants.
Was the hair a big thing for you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
No, I'm kidding. No.
I was going to say, we're in trouble. No, I think for us, Bloodshot is an amazing opportunity because it's a character that, at the core, is this macho, testosterone, action-driven character. But surrounding him, what's so fascinating about the storytelling is it actually is very sophisticated. There's narrative acrobatics that take place. There is a great thematic, a strong emotional core as well. And so we had to bring that to the film. And luckily, and why we were so aggressive about making Bloodshot the first film when we were at Valiant, is there's an organic film genre that already tackles that, and probably influenced Bloodshot tremendously in that's the genre that birthed movies like the first Terminator and RoboCop and Total Recall. And so I feel like we've made a modern version of one of those films more than we've made a movie that fits in the kind of superhero genre. Even though we have a superhero in the middle of that film, it feels more like it, and consciously so, it's in that wheelhouse. And look, our writer on the film is Eric Heiser, who's been nominated for an Academy Award for writing Arrival. He wrote Bird Box, wrote a bunch of comics for us at Valiant. So we've tried to bring a sophistication in terms of the genre storytelling.
The cool thing about the original Valiant books, too, that a lot of people who've tried to do, quote-unquote shared superhero universes since makes Valiant distinctive, that other people haven't done, is like the original Valiant guys didn't try to just replicate the archetypes of Marvel and DC. There wasn't a fast guy and a nighttime guy and a sun god and underwater guy, etc. Everything in Valiant had its borrowed from other places, but borrowed from real world science, borrowed from other elements that were not other mediums, not strictly comic book based. And I think that's carried through in the adaptation as well. Like, absolutely. We're not trying to do the next best thing to Marvel, the next best thing to DC. We're trying to make something that's distinctive, stands on its own, and may not necessarily be what the modern definition of a superhero movie is, but something adjacent to that that's equally compelling.
I mean, it's crazy. Look, we made a superhero film shot by Tony Scott. If you love Man on Fire, you're going to like this. Starring Vin Diesel, that is the most intellectual, mind-trippy film you've ever seen. This is what's going to happen. If we've done our job right, you're going to walk into this movie being like, okay, cool, I know what this movie is. And minute 30, you're going to be like, what is happening? I cannot believe they did that. I have no idea where this movie's going to go, but you're super excited. And how often can you say that walking into a movie theater these days?
And just to be clear, the late, great Tony Scott did not direct Bloodshot. No. It is Dave Wilson, who's a first-time director but a very experienced effects guy who co-ran Blur Studio with Tim Miller, who talks about Tony Scott a lot, hugely influenced by him, and has brought kind of that like raw power sensibility. I
thought you guys were either necromancers or had a time machine, and I was going to be even more impressed than I already am with this chat.
Director of True Romance and Top Gun.
No, look, the thing is, Marvel has a very locked down, clean, overlit style, and that is amazing and super commercial. But if you're going to break through the noise, you have to find your own POV. And Dave, incredibly talented visualist, great storyteller, had a very specific point of view that hopefully separates the film from everything else and like busts through that clutter.
But he's an amazingly talented guy. It's been a real pleasure to like just watch him bring this whole thing together. It's really impressive what he's done.
one of the really cool things is I actually went back. I had interviewed you. What year did 4001 come out?
2016.
So this was December of 2015,
Okay.
and you mentioned the Bloodshot movie, and you said almost the exact same thing you said now. And I was doing some homework, thinking, I wonder how much it's changed since then. But it seems like it's pretty much kept the vision you guys were hoping for all those years ago.
I can safely say, look, it was incredible battles, crazy fights. One of the most difficult things maybe the most difficult thing I've ever done, including building Valiant from bankruptcy to where it is. This was more difficult, but I can say coming out of the other end, it is the version of the movie that we tried to make. I mean, there's certain compromises, but they're not. But the core is there, and so if we get this wrong, it is not because someone forced us to get it wrong. I got to take it on our shoulders.
I just feel exceptionally privileged. Like we poured our blood, sweat, tears into Valiant, to restoring the luster to the company. And I think it's really a rare experience that people who are so involved in the publishing side of a character get to be as equally involved in the film production of it. I mean, probably count those examples on two hands if you're lucky. But that's really been a privilege. Yeah, it's really been a privilege and something that, we've spent a long time considering and are super excited for people to finally share with people.
I can cut this question if it's a question I can't ask, but are you guys going to get back in the comics game at some point?
Love that you've asked that question. We have been back in the comics game since the day after we left the comics game, and our plan is very simple. Let me put it this way. We are look, it's going to sound egotistical, and I don't mean it to, but we are comics is a very difficult industry, and we are some of the only people that have got into it and got out successfully and in a better position. The bad idea for us and what to do next is to get back into comics, and so we're going to do the bad idea.
Okay.
But in order to do it right, we have to come out with such a right hook and be so powerful in the storytelling and the quality that we wanted to take our time and be very quiet. We're almost at the end of that period, though.
And have some fun too.
Yeah, and it's a bunch of old friends that we worked with, and it's gonna be awesome, man.